Kate, we're focused on the seniors, but caring for seniors involves a lot more than that. So what are the greatest issues facing families who are taking care of a senior?
Well, I think there are a lot of issues. One, of course, that many of you probably are experiencing is working and caring for, say, an older parent or an older family member, and whether that person lives nearby, which now it's very unlikely that you might live near a parent who you might be caring for. There's been a lot of research by AARP and others that suggests that even though individuals may be able to take time off for family care, few people do, because they don't want to be perceived as somehow not pulling their weight, or they don't want to be identified as somebody who may not be available. So we see a lot of burden from people who are working, caring for an older family member, and really not taking advantage of caregiver leave if that's even available. The second thing is I'm sure, as you all know, that caring for an older parent, the hands-on care tends to be involved with women caregivers. I mean, there are certainly a lot of male caregivers, and I can talk a little more about that, but the hands-on care is generally delivered by women, whether it's through paid caregiving or through non-paid caregiving. So women who also have the advantage of living long and having more chronic diseases and far fewer resources financially, and then caregiving added on top of that adds on to that whole cascade of events. Women also tend to live alone, older women, and live in more poverty. So you have this culmination of things that can affect caregiving. Now, for men, a lot of men who want to be caregivers feel that they're not adequately prepared. So depending on your age and the generation that you grew up in, you might not have been enculturated to care through child rearing or other things. So there's challenges for men who do want to be those hands-on caregivers in simply not knowing what to do. And there are some research that suggests that hospital staff have a certain bias. If you come in with if you're a daughter and you come in with your father and he needs care, or your mother, then they assume that you'll be the caregiver. But if you're the son, they will help you find a place to put that older parent. So we have to think about some of those issues. But overall, caregiver burden is a big issue. Caregivers get isolated. Caregivers suffer disproportionate rates of depression because of the social isolation, and really don't get the respite that they need. So it's a huge health issue for people who are being those providers of care.
Can I just add to that?
Please.
It's a huge issue for employers also. The MetLife Mature Market Institute did research on this several years ago, and it picks up exactly on what Kate was saying. They wanted to measure the impact and cost of caregiving to the employer, and the way they measured it was the cost of employees coming in late, leaving early, something called presenteeism. So they're at their desk, but they're really searching for answers online or making phone calls, and then finally turnover, getting to the point where they can no longer provide that care and work a full-time job. The cost at that point, this goes back to 2011, was $4,000 per full-time employee per year is the cost of caregiving and the burden that is taken on by the employer, which also speaks to an incredible opportunity employers have to incorporate solutions and resources for their employees to help them be more productive, to combat things like the negative health outcomes that occur when a caregiver is providing care and getting sicker than the person for whom they're providing that care.